is Christopher Luby. As we all know, I had hip surgery on August 3rd of 2022. For me, I have been struggling mentally with recovery from this hip surgery. Time has not been easy for me personally. It's been tough for sure.
Good morning, everybody. Good morning. Today is Wednesday, which is also known as surgery day. We go in at 12 o'clock p.m. or whatever, and we go get surgery done.
Hi, Chris. Smile. Smile for me.
Over the past year and a half, I have dealt with many hardships and anxiety with this hip issue.
Sure to pray for Chris. I know he's going through a very, very rough time right now.
I did not think it'd be this hard right now. It's my second time, now third time, getting my emotions. It took a while for every doctor to end up coming together and figuring out that it was a hip labral tear. And it took a lot out of my life with just hardship and loss of myself, because my true self belongs with the sport of running.
Yeah, I'm on my warm-up 3 minutes in.
I wore them about for 300 miles, or 315, something around that.
Hey there, everybody.
But that is one of my goals, actually, to run that this year.
And without the sport of running, I was not physically there. I was not mentally there. I was struggling. I used many coping mechanisms to help me that were not super healthy. It was something that I don't like to talk about personally a lot because I go through many relapses with it. With this, it's my mental health, it's my anxiety, it's my depression, it's the thoughts that race through my head so many times. The fear of just losing everything because of this hip injury. On January 16th of 2021 is when I figured out that I had a hip issue, and soon later on February 10th of that year, I was soon realizing that I had to drop out of the Louisiana Half Marathon and start to recover. That took out a lot out of me mentally, realizing that Matthew, my brother, gets to race this race without me and gets to achieve his goal. That made me cry, made me very upset, made me very angry, but it also determined my fate. What do I mean that it determined my fate? Well, it helped me find new passions. It helped me find my true self. It helped me find this YouTube channel a little bit more. It helped me find so many things. So then, I was able to run again. I became more happy. I started to feel better about myself. I started to feel more like myself. I was just starting to feel like myself again. But then another dark spiral happened and the hip issue flared up again, August 29th.
It's always good.
Yeah, my groin hurts a little, my injury.
And that is when I really fell into a deep spiral with my depression, anxiety, just fear of everything. I've already lost so much fitness with this hip injury. And then I started to even lose more fitness, more endurance, and just start to lose all my times and all my progress, even more so. And that really downed me. That really made me super depressed. It made me super sad to know what was lost and what I could have been. It's very tough. I fell into a deep dark path with eating disorder. I used my eating disorder as a coping mechanism, which was not to eat. I basically starved myself all day. Would only eat maybe 500 to 1,000 calories a day because that was my coping mechanism. It was my way to cope with my anxiety, and it was a way to cope. So then I ended up recovering a little bit from that eating disorder. It was very tough mentally. I saw my body change, but I became overall more happy. But most of all, I started to be able to train a little bit again. Not because my hip injury got better, but because my mentality changed a little bit. I decided, let me start working out this hip injury a little bit. Maybe I can change the game a little bit. Maybe I can change something about this hip injury and maybe make it work. We were still in and out of doctors, still had no idea what the pain was being caused from, still had no idea when I could run, how much fitness I will end up losing, how much of my goals are gonna be set back by. But I powered through. I got my mind right,
and see where the source is coming from. We are headed towards to the doctor today. The appointment is at 9:45, but we're gonna
still face tons of anxiety, still tons of thoughts racing in my head. Still dealing with a little bit of a coping mechanism in an unhealthy way, but I got through it. I ended up soon being able to go to the gym again, go to cycle, because we soon found out the news that it was a hip labral tear, a femoral hip impingement. I trained my ass off for 8 weeks. And we're off. I trained because I knew that my time is gonna be soon gone. I noticed that soon I won't be able to train for a long time. We found out that recovery is gonna take 4 to 6 months in most cases. My age is 3 to 4 months. So I realized 3 to 4 months without training, and surgery takes place in August. That leads me till December, maybe January, before I can officially start training. That's not even gonna be true training. I won't even probably be able to start true training until a year later after that. With that, anxiety started to set in. With that, I started to put longer hours in the gym. I started to put longer hours on the bike. I started to put longer hours into training, and it was nice. It was my only coping mechanism. It was fun for me, and I pushed my way through. I love pushing my mentality that way. I love getting out and pushing my heart rate super high. I love going on endurance. I love just getting the heart and blood flow moving. That was made me very happy. So I ended up cycling 200 miles the day before surgery.
So everybody, it is the next morning, carb loaded with some oatmeal, and then I had oatmeal again, and then so basically a lot of oatmeal yesterday to carb load for this 200-mile ride today. And yes, surgery is tomorrow. 0.1 miles in. Can't start off too hard, but we're into the ride.
On August 3rd, I received surgery a day later after the 200-mile bike ride. 1 p.m. on August 3rd was when the surgery happened.
Good morning, everybody. Good morning. Today is Wednesday, which is also known as surgery day. We go in at 12 o'clock and we go get surgery done.
So then we went into surgery, and yeah, that's that. When we came out of surgery, it was very tough mentally for me because I was very nauseous, very bloated, very fatigued, very sick feeling, just out of breath, nauseous, just thoughts in my head. I can't even walk 2 feet without feeling nauseous or feeling like I'm gonna pass out, feeling super out of breath. I couldn't use a breathing machine because I felt nauseous, felt out of breath. I couldn't shake my head back and forth because I felt out of breath. I felt nauseous doing anything really. It was very tough. The car ride home that day was very tough mentally as well. It was very tough for me. I couldn't walk to the door. I had to stop many times. I could not breathe, I felt like. A week goes by and I started to find me just sleeping in. Me starting to play more video games. Me starting to edit less. Me starting to sleep more. Me starting to watch a little bit more TV. And me also starting to eat a little bit less. And that caused my anxiety and depression to rise. That was very hard mentally. I could not fathom editing or doing school or getting up or being motivated. My motivation was not there. Even my determination was not there. As you know, self-determination will keep you going, will keep you rising. Motivation is something that is temporary. And I didn't have temporary motivation. I didn't have the self-determination to keep me going. All I did was want to sleep in late. All I did was want to watch TV.
Big ring. Oh yeah.
All I did was want to eat less and less due to being on the couch and just because I was not motivated to do anything. With that, anxiety of course rised. Depression of course rise. I was thinking to myself, you never used to play video games, you never used to sleep in late, you never used to sleep in all day, but look at you now. You're sleeping in, you're playing video games, you're doing all stuff that you used to not be doing. You used to wake up at 5 a.m., now you're waking up at 11 a.m. You used to go to bed at 8:30 p.m. Now you're going to bed at 12 p.m. You used to not play video games, but now you're playing video games. You used to eat normally, but now you're not even eating. You're starting to lose even more fitness because you're not even cycling, when I used to cycle to gain a little bit of fitness. You're not going to the gym, and so you're losing strength. With all this, anxiety started to creep in. Many thoughts started to race through my head, especially since my only way to get anxiety out was through weightlifting endurance athletic sports such as cycling, running. That was my way to get all the thoughts out of my head. It was the way to cope and the way to just help me mentally. And so then thoughts started to increase, depression started to increase, and I was not mentally there. So when the hips start to get better and this hip start to improve a little bit, my anxiety got better. I was able to feel a little bit better. I was able to feel a little bit more motivated, a little bit more determined, a little bit more like myself, because I was able to move a little bit more. I started to have a little bit range of motion back in my hip, a little bit strength back in my hip, because before that I was thinking, no strength in your hip, you used to have strength in your hip, you used to have mobility. So with that, I started to gain a little bit about myself. It was a nice break, I will say, to be on the couch, and I knew mentally I needed it for a break as well as to recover my hip. What I needed was food and sleep and rest. With that, I needed all of that in order to recover myself, in order to feel better about myself, in order to help me mentally and help this hip injury heal so I can get back out there. But now I'm starting to feel a little bit more like myself. I'm starting to feel more determined. I'm starting to lose the motivation, but starting to gain the determination to keep going, keep striving. Just keep that goal running. The goal of me trying to get back into the sport of running, me trying to get back into the sport of athletics and endurance and gaining strength, and me starting to gain mobility back in my hip, and me starting to want to edit and pursue my dream of being a videographer mixed filmmaker on YouTube and pursue that dream. And so with that being said, I'm glad to have a little bit less anxiety and a little bit less depression. Definitely took me out for a good 5 weeks, but now I'm feeling a little bit more like myself, and as this recovery continues, I'm going to continue to feel more like myself, hopefully. Anyways, thank you so much for tuning in today's video. I want to thank everybody for watching today's video. Thank you for all the supporters who have supported me along this journey, and thank you so much. Anyways, make sure you seek happiness, achieve goals, and find glory. I will see y'all in the next one. Peace.